not sustainable. That statement was said by Mbadi. He's the Treasury CS, he's called John Mbadi, has revealed that the government is struggling to fund free education programming implemented over 2 decades ago, even as an audit criticizes the new university funding model. So if they're saying free education not sustainable, this goes to the public schools, you know. Oye kama mzazi ningependa kujua maoni yako. Do you feel like still have that thing that we call free education? Because even according to John Mbadi, the treasury, the CS, anasema that free education is not sustainable, and that story is in page 4 and 5. Let's check out what they're saying. They're saying that page 4, this is what they're saying. We have been living a lie on funding free education. That is what Mbadi says. Finally, at least now they have said this, because parents will be complaining out there. And they're saying remarks comes from amid demand from the principals for the release of 18 billion. And the Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi has admitted that the government has not been disbursing the full capitation amounts under the free education programming, citing a constrained fiscal space. That is what they're saying. And Mbadi has revealed that instead of the recommended, that is 22,244 per secondary school learner annually, the National Treasury has been releasing that is 16,900. School principals have blamed the shortfall for the numerous challenges in public schools face. The Ministry of Education is required to disburse capitation in the 3 tranches, that is 50, 30 and 20%. That statement came from from Mbadi. And then there's a sentiment from Peter Orero, that is Kibra MP, and this is what he said. Where is the money going, and why won't the Ministry of Education tell schools to budget for 17,000 instead of misleading them with 22,000? This brings us to that aspect of transparency that is from the government when they're releasing their funds, when they're releasing the funds. And then in addition to that, they're saying low enrollment. However, the government will consider a review if revenue performance improves. That is what he added. That is Mbadi. His remarks comes as the government plans to merge some secondary schools with low enrollment to optimize basic resources that they have. And then they're saying last week, Basic Education PS Julius Bitok said this move followed the recent grade 9 placement exercise, which revealed that over half of the 9,750 secondary schools were not selected by learners. So what will happen kwa hizo mashule zenye wanafunzi wa kuchagua? And they're saying without enrollment, affected schools will not receive capitations and may face closure. A recent report by Zizi Africa Foundation, they're saying that also they have identified inadequate capitation and teacher shortages as major impediments to quality education in the public schools. So what will happen, because tuliona jana bado the civil servants wakiambiwa that they should also make sure that they utilize the public amenities that we have, that includes the public schools. And still on education, that is on page 5, I can see here we have, that is the Auditor General Nancy Gathongo. And they're saying education, the plan has also faced legal challenges after a court declared discriminatory, thus unconstitutional. And they're saying higher education funding model faulty, inefficiencies of the system seen undeserving students get loans. That is what the auditor says in the report. So let me read a little bit so that we can understand. Deserving students are denied funding because of the higher education funding model is faulty, according to the Auditor General, that is Nancy Gathongo. And in her report, Ms. Gathongo noted that undeserving students, including those who had deferred their studies, were allocated money thanks to the funding model numerous shortcomings. So baka watu wenye wamedifaa wamekuwa wakipokea pesa. This is not a good thing, because kuna watu wenye hawajakuwa wakipokea help because pesa imekuwa kidogo. But according to a statement, they're saying undeserving students, including those who have deferred. So we were wondering, you know, to the system, to the management, is there accountability? You know, where are we heading as a nation? And the audit attributed that the problems that the model is facing to lack of integration between it and Kenya University's College Central Placement. So I hope that they'll check out these things, because najua pia education tumekuwa tukiona kumekuwa na 33 ghost schools, you know. Wamekuwa wakipokea capitation each and every year, you know. Each in every financial year wamekuwa wakipokea capitation. Now we're wondering hiyo pesa imekuwa ikienda wapi? And now the fact that they have realized this, you know, about the ghost schools, hii pesa itarejeshwa, what will really happen? And they're saying also 2023 year the government rolled out the model for financing that is the higher education. This is a report that is from the Auditor General Nancy Gathongo, who appeared before the National Assembly Cohesion and Equal Opportunities Committees, that is Equal Opportunities Committees. I hope they do a follow up on this, because education is a primal thing. In kitu ina affect watu wengi sana, and you know, if everything kumekuwa na shortage of capitation, you know, good schools, the students who don't deserve to get this help wamekuwa ikipokea, mwenye anakuwa affected ni the common mwananchi and the parents. So I hope they do a follow up on this, so that these issues will not be happening that is in the education sector. And away from the education, and still on the education sector, I can see that is on the Standard page 1. They have highlighted also matters to do with education. They're saying parents to feel school fees pain after treasury cuts funding in the education. You know, I'm wondering, even still after the challenges that the education, still the treasury, they have cut the funding. That story is in page 2. Let's check out. They're saying that good schools get millions amid looming dearth of free education. The Treasury CS John Mbadi has admitted that they cannot sustain free education. Ironically, good schools and non-existent learners have gobbled up billions. So what will really happen in the education sector? Because this is not a good thing at all. This is the same story that I've read that is in page 1 of the Daily Nation, and they're saying that parents might soon pay fees for their children after top officials declared that the government was unable to fund free education, even as it emerged that millions of shillings have been spent on ghost schools. So this burden yote tu inarudi kwa mwananchi, the common mwananchi. Let's see what will happen. And away from the education sector, on other stories,